Welcome to the Aftermath, the podcast dedicated to teaching, leading, and encouraging Christians who aspire to do more and be better in their walk with Christ. I'm your host, Randy C. MAYS, and each week we take a deep dive into inspiring stories to help you navigate the challenges and opportunities that follow life's pivotal moments. Whether you're seeking personal growth, a deeper faith, or a stronger sense of community, the Aftermath is here to support you on your journey. Join us as we explore how to transform trials into triumphs and setbacks into stepping stones, all for the glory of God. Let's embark on a journey together and discover the powerful impact of living a Christ-centered life. Welcome to the Aftermath. Today's episode of The Aftermath is brought to you by Jesus Is My Plug, the ultimate Christian streetwear brand that combines faith and fashion. If you want to make a bold statement about your faith while looking stylish, head over to www.jesusmyplug.net. From trendy tees to unique accessories, Jesus Is My Plug has something for everyone. Don't miss out on exclusive deals and the latest drops. Sign up for their text list on the website. Plus, stay inspired and connected by following them on Instagram at Jesus Is My Plug brand. Show your faith with confidence and let the world know that Jesus is your plug. Shop now, sign up, make sure you follow us. First episode ever of the Aftermath podcast. I just want y'all to get to know me a little better on why the Aftermath started, what I have going on, a little bit about who I am. Got to set the scene. So the year is 2019, one of the toughest, absolute toughest years of my life. I'm mid-divorce, got a bout with depression, still trying to maintain the things that I'm called to do, being a father, being a leader on my job, being a leader at the church. And I'm in the middle of a crisis of a lifetime, something I've never faced before, something my parents have never faced before, times where I'm feeling like I'm alone while surrounded by people. This was a tough year for me. I remember vividly a time when I was laid down and I was like, I had never really faced depression before. It was something I had never experienced, something I never want to go through again. And to be quite honest, it was something that I didn't really believe in until God allowed me to experience it for about a week. It wasn't long. And one of my good friends called me. And I remember being laying in bed, and it was almost time for me to go pick my kids up. And they called me and they said, "Bro, you don't sound good." I'm straight. They said, "Nah, man, no, you can't lie to me. You don't sound good." And the next thing they told me was that I need to get up. Yeah, I remember thinking to myself, get up and do what? And they were like, "Man, get up, go to the gym, go eat, go watch a movie, go read a book, go do something." And none of that stuff sounded good to me, but I got up. And probably about a month or so later, the conversation hit me, right? And I was in my room and I got up and I went into my office and I opened my Bible, and the words "get up" was what stood out to me the most about that conversation, because it was like, get up and do what? So I began to search the Bible for these words, "get up." And the first text that I found was in the book of Job. And it was after, I believe, the second test of the enemy about Job, the righteous man, the good man that he was. And God allowed the enemy to touch him and wipe out his family. It says that Job got up and he praised. I said, wow. All that he went through, all that he experienced, he still got up and he praised. I said, but there has to be more to this get up. And so I found myself reading about David. Although David had fallen, David had messed up, David had slept with somebody else's wife and tried to cover it up, and David still lost a child. And after the death of David and Bathsheba's baby, it says that David got up. I believe that he ate, he washed up, and it says that he got up and praised. So Job lost his family, David messed up and lost a child, and they still found a way to get to their feet and give God praise. Now, this motivated me because this is what we would call the aftermath of hard times, the aftermath of trial. And if these strong men, Job and David, found a way to face hard times, but make their way back to their feet to give God praise, so can I. And so I took this and I developed a mantra. I developed a mindset that regardless of how I feel, I was going to continue to show up. I was going to continue to show up for my kids. I was going to continue to show up for my family. I was going to continue to show up for my church. And it don't mean that I was any better. It doesn't even mean that I was healed. But all that it means is that I was going to find my way to our feet. I was going to continue to give God praise, and I was going to continue to show up for my responsibilities. And in my mind, I'm a thinker. So sometimes I sit back and think about if I would have did the opposite. What if I would have not showed up? What if I couldn't find a way to give God the glory? What if I couldn't give God the praise? What would my life look like now? So right now I want to inspire somebody, because now I'm 5 years removed from my divorce. I'm 5 years removed from depression and anxiety. I'm 5 years removed from anger and bitterness. I have a beautiful wife. My kids couldn't be happier. I had a beautiful wedding. We travel all over. We have a great time together. I love being at home. I love my job. And I was able to meet my beautiful wife at church, the very place that I actually contemplated for probably about a week, probably 2 weeks, about never going back to, because of shame or embarrassment. I don't know what your trial is. I don't know you. I don't know the root or the cause of your depression. But I do know that whatever you're called to, despite your depression, despite your trial, you got to keep showing up for it. One of my favorite narratives in the Bible is that of Joseph. I did a message probably about a year or two ago that was called The Art of the Reset. And I found that through my study of Joseph, that Joseph was a master reset artist. He went from his father's house to being thrown in a pit, to being sold into slavery, to Potiphar's house, to being lied on, to being thrown into prison. But each place that Joseph found himself, number one, he had God's favor with him, but Joseph continued to exercise his gifting. Now, most of us, we're good with exercising our gifting on the big platform, but Joseph shows us how to exercise the gift in the prison. And so what I found out is that when everything was well for me and my gift in encouraging and leadership, when everything was well for me, it was easy. But now that I faced a little adversity through this divorce, now I'm questioning my call. Now, I'll be honest, I don't think I'm the only one. I think as long as our phones are ringing and we're asked to come speak, or somebody's affirming us in the comment section under our videos, I think we're good. But what does it really look like to take our gifts and our calls and to show up while depressed? What does it look like to show up and do what God called us to do during heartbreak? Here's what I found out through my study of Joseph, is that Joseph exercised his gift in prison and meets the very person who would go and talk about him and get him free from prison. Now, if you want to go back and read the stories like Genesis 35 or 38 or somewhere in there, and Joseph ultimately gets free and becomes the governor and goes back and saves his family from a famine, because he became a governor and they needed food, so they ended up making their way to him, and they didn't know it was him at first, and he feeds them. And just to speak to that real quick, Joseph fed and blessed the very people that tried to kill him. This is where the famous scripture where it says, what you meant for evil, God used for good. But I mean, it's inspiring to read that. It's super dope that Joseph did that, but it's another thing to live that. I don't think you're fully healed until you can bless what hurt you. Take it a step further. And even if you're not to the point quite yet where you can bless what hurt you, can you stand to see them getting blessed? Can you stand to see them living their best lives, knowing what they did to you? Can you imagine you still sitting over there and you quit showing up and doing what God called you to do? You ain't even fooling with that no more, because it ain't easy no more. It's easy to show up when everything is going good for you, but when you hurt a little bit, you stop going to church, you stop serving, you ain't exercise your gift, you can't encourage nobody no more. You don't feel like speaking in tongues anymore. You don't feel like exercise your gift of teaching. You don't even want to do her no more. So can you imagine you not doing what God calls you to do, because your gift is not for you. Your actual gift is to edify the body. That's why you can't keep your gift to yourself. But can you imagine you being disobedient, bitter, angry, pissed off at whoever or whatever did what they did to you, and you open up these apps on your phone and see what hurts you. They on vacation. They got the new house. They got the cars. They got the job. They got the relationship. Can you stand it? Because if we follow the model Joseph, and I think the only missing link, the only thing that makes us different than Joseph is Joseph continued to exercise his gifts no matter what his platform looked like. Joseph exercised his gift at Potiphar's house. He exercised it in the prison. And then finally, when he made it to governor, he was already who he was. Joseph continued to show up as himself no matter what the situation was. The Bible doesn't really discuss what took place when Joseph was thrown into the pit with his brothers, but I just imagine that Joseph sat down there and had conversations, and I believe that Joseph was humbled during that time period, and he was preparing for whatever was next. He got mentally ready, and I just believe that he had a conversation with God in the pit. What does your time of isolation look like? Cool, they broke up with you. Get off social media. Get you a journal. Identify how you can get in God's presence, because something that I experienced during my time after my divorce when I would be by myself is I figured out how to get in God's presence. Let me tell you something. When you can sit at home and figure out how to get in God's presence, I mean, like really feel his embrace, you'll forget about what they got going on. You just won't care what they have going on. So I really want everybody to really go back and study this narrative that Joseph sets forth, that the Bible outlines, and really watch what Joseph does. He had a bad situation. He's betrayed by family. Hadn't he been betrayed by family before? He never thought that his brothers would. The Bible says that Joseph showed up with a new coat and his brothers hated him more, meaning that his brothers always hated him. Threw him into the pit, led to him being sold into slavery, making his way to Potiphar's house, ultimately getting thrown into prison because he got lied on by Potiphar's wife. Here's another thing that I love. When Joseph became governor, he didn't use that as an opportunity to flex on the people of his past. Joseph showed up and owned the position of governor because he made it there, because he got there, because he ultimately deserved that position. Joseph didn't go through a breakup with his family and say, I'm going to show them I'm going to get me a degree, or I'm going to show them I'm going to get me a new car, or I'm going to show them I'm going to get me a new relationship. And I think so many times the after about what hurt us or our trauma, we're so busy trying to prove them wrong. But here's what y'all going to find out real quick. If you keep trying to show your ex that they missing out, you're going to be highly disappointed when you find out that they don't care. Can you imagine going to get all this debt for a house, a car, a degree, and they don't even watch your story from your graduation? About man, you done hired a videographer. They done followed you around all day while you put on your cap and gown. They done came to your graduation party. You didn't had the videographer show up to the Mercedes dealership. You done made your whole video, Instagram Reels, TikTok, Facebook Reels. You done posted it. And imagine them not watching none of it. And what's really crazy is I don't even be thinking y'all really want all that stuff. I think it's a status thing, and I'm gonna kill them with this. Them folk ain't checking for you, babe. I can't even lie. They ain't worried about what you got going on, man. So listen, if you're going through trauma, take some time to yourself and figure out what it is that you like, what you want the next phase to look like in life. There's just peace in finding yourself and finding true happiness and what it look like. Now listen, I was divorced. I was divorced in 2019. I got married in this last January in 2024. So I was single about 3 years. It wasn't all just me praying and reading the Bible. I had some struggles. I had some time periods where I was living below my capacity. I had some time periods of arrogance, some time periods of trying to be flashy and stepping outside myself. But here's what I want to tell you about those time periods, man. When I was operating below my capacity and outside of God's will and being intentionally disobedient and trying to self-sabotage what God was trying to do in and through my life, those are the roughest days of my life. But to the camera and to social media, it probably looked real good. And take these times of isolation, take these seasons of being in a pit and identify who you are, what it is you truly like to do, what God is really calling you to and what that looks like. It's a time period to figure it out, man. Don't take for granted these times by yourself. I'll be honest, I don't know what Joseph was experiencing, but I think there's beauty in the pit. I think there's beauty at times of isolation prior to resurfacing and the gathering community. I think there's a lot to be accomplished there. Let's sit with ourselves and come up with the business plan. Let's come up with the nonprofit. You've been sitting on that t-shirt design for 5 years and ain't dropped it yet. Come up with the mock-up, post it, take pre-orders if you ain't got the money, and then come out with it. You know what God is telling you to do. And here's the dope part about the God that we serve. If he gave you the provision, if he gave you the vision, there's provision attached to it. This means he's going to send you the people along the way to accomplish what he's called you to accomplish. Y'all, listen, man. I'm telling y'all what I love. Although my 3 years of singleness wasn't all flowers and rainbows and all that stuff like that, I enjoyed every bit of the season. No cap. I'm telling you, I enjoyed singleness. I enjoyed going to eat by myself. I enjoyed traveling by myself, sitting at home by myself. I enjoyed every bit of it. If I wouldn't have fully embraced that part, if I wouldn't have fully embraced the pain, I don't think I will fully embrace this new season that I'm in now with my beautiful wife, with our two girls. Embrace every season, because I believe that every step of the way, the pit, slavery, Potter's house, betrayal of the family, I think all of that molded and set Joseph up to become governor. I think there were lessons along the way that Joseph learned that made him an effective leader. If Joseph wouldn't have released pain and bitterness and anger, he would have been a petty leader. And if you know anything about having a petty leader or a petty boss, they are not able to lead that well because they have personal agendas. Don't let that be you. Don't let that be you. This is your time. The Bible says that before you were formed in your mother, I knew you. God, he has a purpose and a call for you. Whatever they did to you, they may have been part of the plan. Judas was part of Jesus' plan. Stop letting betrayal be the end all be all. Judas, the one who betrayed Jesus, played a vital role in Jesus getting to the cross. What is your trauma? What is your pain? What does it set you up for? No cap, man. Think about it. Listen, here it is. My divorce set me up to be able to fully embrace my wife. I can't explain it. It don't make sense. My divorce set me up. God hates divorce, but God is also a God of restoration. Here it is. This is what I told my wife when I whispered in her ear when I proposed to her. If I had to experience all of the hurt and pain and sorrow and all the tears to make it to her, I'd do it twice. Unfortunately, we don't always, God won't always reveal what's next. He won't always reveal to us. He won't always reveal to us what the end looks like. He'll just tell you to keep going and trust me. But I ain't gonna lie, if he would have showed me a glimpse of the life that I have now, it'd have made the journey a little easier. That's not the case. And lastly, I was at a Bible study one time, and the pastor said, "Let it hurt. Stop being so quick to try to numb the pain. Stop being so quick to take medicine. Because sometimes if we make the pain end too quickly, we may rush to go get hurt again. Let the pain hurt. That way you're a little more cautious with your heart. That way you're a little more cautious about entering to that other business deal. Learn your lesson. Let it hurt. Pain can be a beautiful lesson sometimes. Pain can set you up for what's next. Y'all, the overarching message I started it off is, I just want y'all to get up and keep going. That's this whole podcast today is an introductory podcast on the type of message that I have and the type of insight that I have. I just need y'all to literally get up and keep going. I just need you to just keep living. Don't take a harsh stance one way or the other. I just need you to get up and keep going, because what I saw even through some of the toughest seasons of my life is that the people that were there trying to encourage me and assume certain types of harsh postures, later on now I'm having to encourage them. Man, just keep living. Don't take a harsh stance one way or the other. You just keep showing up and you just keep listening and figure out how to how to pray and fast and hear from God and get his instruction on what you have to do next. So today's episode is the aftermath of pain. Episode 1, aftermath of pain. Y'all follow me at Randy C. MAYS. More episodes to come. Love y'all. Good night. God bless. Thanks for tuning in to the aftermath. If you're enjoying the podcast, be sure to check me out on YouTube at Randy C. MAYS for more inspiring content. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Randy C. MAYS to stay updated on the latest episodes and behind the scenes moments. And remember, you can listen to the aftermath on all major platforms. If you love what you're hearing, please like, share, subscribe, and leave me a comment. Your support helps me reach more people and continue to bring you uplifting and empowering content. Thanks for being a part of this community.